and his entire family were slaughtered in a heroic last stand that would lead to the bloody Shiite-Sunni rift that continues to this day. This passion play is performed by an amateur troupe of bakers and builders, and it's directed by a bus driver, Yahya Ali Mirzai.
When I see this play, my heart breaks and I cry, because Imam Hussein has answered so many of my prayers.
This is a very emotional play. What is the reaction from the crowd?
The people watching are also talking to God. As they shed their tears, they confide their troubles and ask for help in their lives.
The story may have happened 1400 years ago, but on Ashura, emotions resurface as raw as if it were just yesterday. I sat in the women's section of the audience, next to Nasreen.
I love Imam Hussein and I would love him to visit my home because I've seen the miracles he has performed. One day I was penniless and I didn't know what to do. But after praying to Imam Hussein, I found 50,000 riyals in my drawer. I have seen many such miracles.
Nasreen and the other women can watch, but they can't be on stage.
That's because Islam bars women speaking publicly when young men are present.
But in the story, there were women. His family were killed.
But back then, how shall I say, young men were purer. Now we have to cast men to play the roles of women.
For instance, this mustachioed maiden. The drama, though, is not diminished. It's more than 1,000 years ago since this happened. Is it still relevant to Iran today?
For us, it's still important. Just like it was during the Iran-Iraq war, when young Iranians didn't hesitate to be martyrs.
Iran's 8-year war with Iraq is seen here as a triumph of faith. In 1980, Iraq's President Saddam Hussein invaded Iran. Hussein was supported by the Soviet Union and the United States. They saw him as a bulwark against the spread of Iranian-style Islamic revolution. The world assumed that Iraq's professional army would score a quick victory. But nobody reckoned with Ayatollah Khomeini's holy warriors. Waves of young boys who volunteered to become martyrs, clearing minefields inspired to fight on by their first martyr, Imam Hussein. Back then, Amir Fakhr was one of Khomeini's holy warriors. Tonight, as he prepares free food for the Ashura crowds in Tehran, he tells us how he volunteered to fight when he was barely a teenager, seen here on a hilltop during the battle.
I was 13 when I went to the front.
You went to the war at 13 years old? How did they allow you to go at 13?
I did whatever I could. In the beginning, I was trained to defuse landmines, and when I was battle-hardened, I ran messages on foot.
Did you think of Imam Hussein when you were at the front?
He was my example. His courage inspired me. You can never praise him enough.
When the West looks at this and looks at the rituals, they see chest beating, they see back beating with chains. What message do you want the West to have about your religion, about your rituals?
When we beat ourselves with iron chains and damage our bodies, we want to show that we will stand with our Imam and our religion to the bitter end. For the Shiites, his sacrifice has kept Islam alive for 1400 years.
And it's alive today. Not only in Amir's heart, but in his household. He's brought me to meet his family.
This is my son, Abbas, and this is Ali.
Amir's 2 little boys are named after his 2 brothers who were killed in the war with Iraq, dying to defend their country. More than 20 years later, his mother doesn't regret the family's sacrifice. Kubra, you're a mother, and you sent your 13-year-old son to the front. You lost already 2 sons. How could you have done that?
I never wept for my sons when they went to war. In fact, I was happy. I would have been angry if they refused to go.
Is religion that important in your life?
During the Ashura War, one of the Imam Hussein's disciples was decapitated and his head was thrown at his mother. But she flung it back defiantly, saying, "Whatever I give to God, I don't want back." That's how important Islam is for us.
From the holy city of Rome, a grand Ayatollah tells us that martyrdom for your faith should never be confused with suicide terrorism. The Western world, when they think of Muslims, they think of terrorists. So what is your answer to those people who say that they are God's warriors, that they're God's soldiers, that they kill in the name of God?
I've always said that terrorists should go to hell, and that is our belief. But if the enemy attacks us, we have the right to defend ourselves in any possible way.
Here we are. Which is what Dawood Abdul Hadi did. Like his friend Amir, he was also a teen defending his country. Do you really wish that you could have been martyred?
Yes, martyrdom was my biggest wish, but for me, it just wasn't meant to be.
Everybody understands that if your country is attacked, you'll defend it. But what I think many people don't understand is this love of martyrdom that exists in Islam, and particularly in Shiism. Why is it so important to die?
We love martyrdom because it leads us to heaven and because we'll be helped on the day of judgment.
Are you ready to fight again if you have to?
The true believers are still here. We don't ask for war. But if the enemy attacks even an inch of our territory, all Iranians, from children to old men, are ready to fight.
Tonight, Dawood sings in honor of Imam Hussein's martyrdom.
When we beat our chests, we feel light. We share the sufferings of Imam Hussein, and we tell the world that he is our master.
The most fervent Iranian believers still say that they would fight and die to defend their Islamic State. When we come back, we'll travel to the Sunni side. We'll see what bred the hatred that Osama bin Laden tried and failed to ride to victory.
Every week on African Voices, get a new perspective.